Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cheer Biz Podcast. Today, we are doing one of our interview episodes, and I am so excited to be sitting down with Alicia Shaffer from GPX Cheer in Wyoming. This is actually the first of a series of gym owner interviews where we're starting up, and so excited to be starting with Alicia. I think she has a lot of really cool experience being in the industry for a while. And if you don't know her, I'm going to give a little bit of the bio she gave me going into the interview. And then I'm going to turn it over to Alicia for her to introduce herself, because she probably wants to go into a little more detail than what she wrote down. But her bio that she gave me is Alicia Shaffer is the owner and driving force behind GPX Cheer in Gillette, Wyoming. Since founding the gym in 2015, she's built the GPX Cheer program, a program that empowers athletes to grow in skill, confidence, and character while competing on big stages and staying rooted in the local community. Alicia is passionate about showing what small town athletes can achieve when given big time opportunities. Very well written, super cool. But Alicia, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your journey in cheer.
So I started cheer at a young age. I'm actually from Indiana. So the difference between Wyoming and Indiana, cheer is really big in Indiana. So I moved here in 2009, and at that time, I noticed there really wasn't cheer for like young age girls. So I kind of branched out and tried to find opportunities. At that time, I was only 20, so didn't really know how to get about doing that stuff. So I jumped into coaching gymnastics to get some experience. And then I started doing a Saturday morning rec program at the local rec center, and I was getting 20 to 30 girls each session. So obviously there was a want and need for cheerleading. And then after I did that a while, I realized I could be making all of this on my money on my own. So I started GPX Cheer, and with that, we've kind of had some trials and error along the way, but we've built kind of a pretty good program. And I coached at the high school level in junior high, but I still feel you have to start with the young girls to build those programs. So I kind of stepped back and just focused on my own program.
Okay. So as you said, you started a while ago and you were pretty young, just getting all this going. And you even made kind of a comment of like, figuring it out. What was that like? So, where did you start in terms of, when you decided to branch out on your own? What was your
So
first step?
we actually practiced at a local gymnastics gym on Saturdays. We had one team of 25 girls ages 6 to 13. So I had no idea what I was doing in the all-star world as division and skill level. So I was just throwing myself in and seeing what I could do. We competed at big competitions. We actually competed at Jam Fest because it was in Denver at the time. And I was blown away because we definitely were not ready for that at that time. Once that first year, we started in December, so we literally started competing in January or February. Once that first year season was over, we kind of focused on like, okay, we need to find the outlets of how to create a cheer team, like the division, rules, and all of those things. Um, we then moved our practices to the high school, and we practiced 2 days a week. So we broke our practices. We had three different teams, and we started really trying to fine tune what all star routines were. And now we are in our own building We just moved there 2 years ago. We have three teams. We've consistently had three teams. This is our first year of a full year level two team, so we're kind of really focusing on that prep division, levels one and two. We do a novice every now and then, but we really have been focusing on the rules and I have different coaches now, where before it was just me trying to understand everything. So we've kind of grown, and it seems like a long time, but realistically, it's been a short amount of time that we've had this program.
And so when you say in your own building for the last 3 years, is that a building that you own as a company or is it a rental?
It's a rental, so we have enough space for a 7 panel mat. We have a dead floor, and we have bare minimum seating. We have a bathroom, a little locker room area, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. And tell me about other things within your program. So you have your three teams, your competitive teams. What else do you as a business do to help make ends meet? Because as you go from a gymnastics gym to a high school, low overhead to now I've got to pay rent, I've got to pay staff. What were some things that you started to implement to help make the business continue to be successful?
So we have been struggling for the past 2, 3 years on that, but we do birthday parties. We have like a semi-pro football team, and we've been able to have a cheer team for that. So that's our sideline program. We actually cheer for our junior football, and this year was our second year, and I have 37 girls enrolled in that. And it's just a one-time fee. Volunteer people coach it. I host 2 camps, and then we all come together and do a performance at the halftime of their championship game. So that's been a big hit. We do some sideline rec programs year round, but I just really haven't seen enough girls to keep that going. So I did this is our first year. We do a 6 week intro to All Star, and I'm actually coaching that. It's a 6 week program, and I had 15 girls the first session. So doesn't give me that burnout, but it's still bringing in income.
Okay. Do you still coach other teams as well, or is that kind of your focus?
So I coach two of the All Star teams. I help oversee our younger team, and then I will do our semi-pro football camp. So I kind of am still in all of it. I think I just like being a part and can't let go. So
Many of us coaches who become owners struggle with that, right? Like, guess that's why we started this whole thing, was to
yeah.
coach and to work with athletes and help them grow. So I don't think there's anything wrong with maintaining a connection to that passion. So you mentioned it's been kind of a struggle to grow. And I think people would maybe be shocked to learn that from my research, where you're at in Wyoming, Gillette, is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah.
Is the third most populous area of Wyoming with like 36,000 residents roughly. So third most populous with 36,000, which would by a lot of considerations be considered a small town.
Yeah.
You're not in the Portland metro area in Oregon where there's over 1 million people in Portland. So it's a different dynamic. Are there any other cheer programs or cheer gyms in your surrounding area?
So there are none in my town. I know of two other cheer gyms in Wyoming, and again, they deal with the same problem. We're a small town. We have to travel so far for competitions, so it's really hard to get people to commit to those travel commitments. So not that many, but I think we're growing. When I first started, I was the only one.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a smaller demographic kind of in that area. I think you also face the challenge of you have to educate the public. I mean, people don't even know what this thing is. And that is a scarcity of awareness of the sport, which is a huge challenge. You mentioned being involved in the community. Is that one of the ways that you help spread awareness of what you do?
Yeah, we try our best to stay involved in the community and get the word about cheerleading out there. I think the best way for us to do that is show people what we have because you could talk about cheerleading all day, but you might have a different view of what it is. I have to always remind people sideline cheerleading is very different than all star. So they might see the girls on the sideline at football games through the junior highs and high school, but it's nothing compared to what my girls are doing in the gym. So we try to get local performances and just show people what it's about. And there are still people in our town that don't know us and they come and give it a try, but that price point is a big shock to people, especially when they don't know what the outside of world of cheer is doing.
Right. Right. Do you have any other, I mean, you mentioned your 6 week program. Do you have any other funnels to get people into the gym and starting to experience the sport of tumbling or cheerleading that brings in a little bit of extra revenue, but starts to kind of warm them up to the idea of spending money on this sport?
We have a half year program that I start in January, and each year it's something different. Like, this is what we're doing this year. Last year we did tumbling classes, but it just wasn't being consistent enough for me to be there or to pay someone to coach those classes. So this year we're trying to break it into little sections so it's not a big year-long commitment to people. So our half-year program will start in January. They will compete once, and then this year we're actually hosting our own competition in January. We have one other Wyoming team coming, one pending, and then we've been in contact with people in Montana. So it might be something big. We've hosted showcases that we invite the public to at our high school. So a lot of people can come, see what we're about. And to me, that's always advertisement and it's free advertisement.
Or even profitable advertisement?
Yes.
So can I ask, you said you tried doing some tumbling last year, but it wasn't consistent enough to help you, like to warrant you or another staff member being there. How was that structured? Like, in terms of from a business end, was it a session? Was it a drop in? Was it a monthly membership? What did that look like?
We did it as a monthly membership and a drop in. So my competition girls had the ability to attend that class for free because it was included in your competition tuition. So it gave you an extra day at the gym. That way we had other people there if newcomers didn't show up. And then we had quite a few drop-ins, but I just don't feel like it was the best time. And it could be the timing. Our classes start at 4:30, they go to 5:30, so maybe the time wasn't right. So it was kind of just how many coaches do we have? Who wants to be there after 6:30? Because we don't want it to take over our competition practices. And it really didn't work for us.
Hmm. I mean, I ask because that I find that interesting. That is kind of a bread and butter for the majority of gyms, and ultimately is a really great funnel because you start getting them paying, and then those class kids become your fundamentals kids or your novice team or your half year team, and they start to kind of stair step up to, because yeah, I mean, having someone walk in and be like, yes, it's $3,000 for the season for a year, and you're going to travel and you're going to pay for hotels is like, I'm sorry, what? We've never even done this before. So I can see
Yes.
that that sticker shock is really hard to sell. And if you can sell people on that, you are good at sales because that is not an easy thing to convince people of.
So we actually, what our bread and butter was a sideline program, but we had it last for 3 months at a time, and it would die off in that third month. So, but those sideline girls, I had about 10. They transitioned to my competitions team this year. So the sideline program was our bread and butter. So now we just broke it into doing 6 weeks and taking a break during those busy months and then reset.
What are those like when you say those busy months? What do you mean by that?
We struggle in December. There's school performances, there's those long breaks, and people travel. So December is a chaotic month in our gym. So we kind of try to pull away all of our extra stuff during that month and just have our competition practices. And then in January, we hit the ground running again.
Okay. So when you assess that from a business owner perspective, did you look at it and say, okay, we're going to downgrade to 6 weeks. We're going to charge the same amount. We're just going to do it in a more condensed time. Or did you decrease the price? Like, how did you approach that from a business perspective to ensure your revenue stayed kind of where it needed to be to support the business?
I make sure my ideal world, my competition team pays majority of the bills. So all of those rec teams are kind of a fill towards that because I didn't want to have to depend on whether depend on myself to coach all of these teams year round or depending on those other coaches if they're there to coach those teams. So we kind of are lucky the way our tuition works, it does cover the rent year round. And it's a bonus having those extra classes, which and knock on wood, this year has been our best year on the extra classes. So that's kind of, we try not to really harp on those beginner classes. And then maybe if we're not dependent on them so much, they will come. And that worked this year for us so far.
When you say you try not to harp on them, what does that mean?
Just always worrying if people are going to sign up. Like we want at least 15 and we have to have 15. Like there's no exception. So then when we only get 8, we're like upset or asking ourselves, is this worth it? Like we're not getting that number. I did lower the prices of these beginner classes just because once we get you in the door, we show you the quality that we're teaching these girls. And so that's kind of the route I'm taking this current year. And my classes have been bigger than normal. So maybe that's the key.
And when you say classes, you mean these like sideline. You're basically where people do tumbling, you're doing a class that is focused on sideline cheer.
Yes.
And are they coming just once a week? What does that look like?
Yep. So it's once a week. It is our later days. We have like a 6:15 to 7:50 class. That is what we're currently running. Our junior football program, that's a 2-hour camp once a month is kind of what it ended up being. And then those volunteer moms run that, so I don't deal with that. It is a lower cost, but I kind of wanted to compare it to what our junior football kids are paying. So it's still income, it's still advertisement. It's just not gonna be that profitable for me. But then again, I'm not coaching it.
Well, that is a win, but then obviously comes with a cost. Or are these the volunteers?
The volunteers.
Okay. With a volunteer, how do you manage making sure that they deliver the quality that you're wanting to see?
So I invite them to our camps. They watch the first camp where I teach the cheers, the chants, a little dance. I create a little binder that goes over motions, jumps, how you warm up. So they get that. And I just remind them, like, hey, make this as fun as you would like. If you have any questions, let me know. I send videos of all the chants. And I've honestly been very lucky. Obviously, some groups are better than others, but if they're getting out there and being involved, that's all I ask.
And do you have a conversion plan for how I get those kids that are the sideline kids? Like, what is your methodology to go, okay, my goal is to get every single one of them to convert over to the next step?
So at the first camp, I'm coaching it. They're in my gym. They see all of our banners. So they see all of our merch wall of our bright pink, shiny stuff. So that right there is like, okay, you see what we're about, you know where we're located. I actually got one girl already to my competition team. So right there was an instant win. Then I have their email addresses. So anytime I do a new class, I make sure to like, hey, we're doing this class and we want to invite you. And to me, I think anytime I'm doing a camp with girls, they understand our program. It's that excitement is built in them. So they kind of know if they're going more or if they just stay at that level.
Yeah. So can I like give you a thought that I just have, or a recommendation I would make to
Yeah.
anyone in this position? So one of the great like models you can use is when you have a group like this, which is it's a low cost, low barrier, just get them in the door. I like to always think about what is my next step. Now, for us, it might be tumbling classes or a monthly reoccurring membership style class. But for you, it might be, you said you're doing a half year team in January. It might be that half year team. And depending on what my cost is, like how low it is, at the last like 2 weeks or that kind of ending portion, I would make an offer of sign up for this now and lock in some sort of, give them some sort of a benefit. Now, if it's low enough cost, I might even say, we'll credit what you paid for this. This will now be free. We'll just credit that to your half year season. Now, I obviously have to run the numbers on it like that, but I've definitely done that with like small clinics and things like that. You know, it's a $25 clinic or something. And I go, hey, if you enroll in classes today at the end of the clinic, we'll just credit the cost of the clinic to your joining, you get $25 off. And it can be a great way. Like, I'm always trying to think of intentionally, how do I drive this person to becoming a more consistent regular client? And I think in Cheer, because we want to believe our product speaks for itself, so many times we're like, well, I don't like, if they want it, they want it. And half the time they're on the other side going, oh, well, they didn't ask me to stay. So I guess they don't want me. And then we end up just, we're at the Sadie Hawkins dance where everyone's standing on either side of the room and no one's asking each other to dance. So that's kind of what I was asking about. And I think you've got this really cool funnel in your gym with the sideline that really is great for getting kids to teams. Whereas like tumbling classes don't always get kids to teams, right? Because some kids just want to flip.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like you start to leverage that even a little bit more aggressively. And then the next time we talk, you're not going to be like, well, we're consistently at 3 teams. They're going to be like, we got 5 teams, which sounds like it would be pretty beneficial for your business right now.
Yes, I actually like that idea a lot.
Well, that's what I do all day. How do you market? How do people learn about the gym?
So we've kind of done various things. We have a sports expo in town that we participated in for 2 years. We did classes. We let people come join for free and have like a table set up that says, we do birthdays, we do this, we do that. So that was one way. The majority, we use Facebook a lot. I feel like our town is still on Facebook, so that's helped us a
It's
lot.
not dead yet. Anyone who tells you Facebook is dead is not accurate.
Yeah, so we use a lot of that, and then just word of mouth has been helpful.
Okay. When you use Facebook, are you actually like doing paid advertising or are you just posting to Facebook?
I just post on like our different groups. So like we have a mommies page, so I post in that community page. We have our Facebook page, so I post on there. I post on my personal page, and just really highlighting those community groups.
Have you ever tried running any sort of a paid ad or do you have experience doing those kind of things?
Yeah, I'm actually in marketing.
Oh my
That's
God.
where I work.
Okay, so you still work full time. That was going to be one of my
Yes.
questions.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I do work full time. I actually work at a marketing agency, so I kind of know all the tips and tricks, but as a business owner, I always say I'm a coach, not a business owner, so my stuff is on the back burner. But
Why do you think of yourself in that way?
I feel like I'm, I don't want to use the word content, but our program is large in my eyes. So the efforts that I'm making currently is keeping it steady. And I do feel like when a lot of my marketing, I like showing. So when we do like our junior football performances, when we do our semi-pro football performances, I feel like those are very big marketing events for our community. So that's kind of where I stop. I keep up to date on like my social media, my posts, and try to keep my pages looking pleasing.
Sure. So when you say you're content, now this actually something I have no idea what your answer is on this, but I've been similar. I've worked full time for a really long time. So do you enjoy working? Like, are you in the mode of I want to go full time with the gym, or are you like happy with your current structure?
That's a double-edged sword.
If you could make the money that you make right now doing marketing and be full time in your gym, is that something that you would want to do?
I did take 6 months and focus on cheer, but in my eyes, the cheer program runs after school. So the fact that I have the flexibility to work during the day and then do my program in the evenings, I'm a busybody person. So for me, I like this part of life. And I just feel like during the day, those really aren't my classes. I like the schedule and the consistency of those evening classes, those school age girls, and that's kind of I tried, but it just wasn't my thing.
Well, and that's kind of why I ask. I think it depends on where you're happy, right? Like ultimately, we want happy gym owners are going to generally keep going longer, and sometimes being full time in the gym isn't what makes you happy, depending on your personality. I will say I don't teach any classes during the day, but I'm busy all day. There is so much to do to it when you start to really dive into like marketing the gym and you start to really focus on those growth avenues and then the delegation and the systemization. Very quickly, those days could be like, oh, I have to go to the gym to coach now because I've been working nonstop. So I think it's great though if you feel you found that balance and you're having you're feeling like you're solid there. There's nothing wrong with knowing as a business owner I'm where I want to be. There can sometimes be too much emphasis on like I've got to grow, I've got to have more kids, more revenue, more. And that can sometimes be like you said, that double-edged sword of, yeah, you've got more, but now that means more work, more stress, more all of those things.
I feel like our last year's season was a lot of that. So we really sat down and we were like, how can we make this so it's not stressful to everyone? I actually have two other coaches that have been there from the beginning, and we kind of bounce all these ideas off under my sounding board and my support to make sure this isn't gonna be everyone. I'm a mom, I have three kids, so it's a lot.
Yeah, that's a heck of a lot. How old are your kiddos?
I have a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-year-old.
Okay, so
They're all
young.
boys.
Okay. So they're either breaking everything in the house or wanting mom's attention at all times.
Yes, they are wrestling both times. I actually have a really great husband, so they actually like him a lot more. So it's great for me.
I just find that young boys they love having mom around.
Yeah.
They love the mom attention. So yeah, wow, that is a lot to juggle. I can certainly identify that. 3 kids myself, but we got a girl at the end. So that can be a lot. It can be a lot to balance for sure. When you mentioned kind of beforehand, you said, you really want to focus on building your program from the ground up and get the community to see the bigger picture of what cheer can be. What does that look like to you? What is the end goal of where you see GPX and its role within your community of Gillette, Wyoming?
So the end goal for me is obviously having more consistency on the teams and just want everyone to know what cheerleading is, or when they think of cheerleading, they do think of our program. And I want, on like the adult parent side, understanding the commitment levels that come with cheerleading and knowing that it's a year-round sport. I just honestly want to be the face of cheerleading in not only Gillette, but Wyoming. I feel like we kind of started this program and being the only ones from Wyoming at these competitions to now it's starting to grow. We get more teams from Wyoming. So I want to be the inspiration to other gyms that it doesn't matter how small the town is, like you can make it work.
Oh, yes. High five to that. And it is absolutely true. I go out to one of my clients' gyms. They're in Manila, Arkansas. There's 1,000 people in Manila.
Oh no.
They have 5 competitive teams.
That is awesome.
Like, now, granted, they do pull from surrounding areas, but I mean, all the areas are like 1,000 people here, 900 people there. Like, they're tiny area. And there's mega gyms in Jonesboro, and they have like 5 competitive teams, like 140 kids doing tumbling classes, booked out birthday parties every weekend. Like, they crush it. And it's because they invested and they followed the systems and they went in on those things and really like built it out like a business, and it's just grown exponentially. It's been really cool to watch their journey. But now they're at the point where it's like, okay, what's next? Because kind of lock this down. So it's pretty cool. So as we kind of wrap up, it's been super fun hearing your story and learning more about your program. And honestly, I think a lot of the cheer industry forgets Wyoming, right? Like, it's just kind of you guys are over there. And although I've seen some teams come through, like I've seen some videos over the years and seen you guys coming up. And actually, one of my teammates in college came from Wyoming and cheered with him at the University of Oregon. So I've known that Wyoming had cheer for a long time, and he's now back out living there. But is there anything else that you would want to tell us about Wyoming cheer or GPX, or you think is relevant for the cheer industry?
I think one of the challenges that we actually face a lot is the turnover. I feel like we're in a very like transit type town. So we have people moving from Texas or moving to Texas or all over. We have people moving to Colorado. And so one thing we have to do, I feel like every year, is restart back to the basics because we might lose those girls that have been really in the program for a long period of time. And so just resetting and always going back to the basics. But I feel like it gets easier every time. One of the things I feel like we challenge is our challenge as well as commitment levels. And I'm sure that's across the board in cheerleading. I use that as a positive side in our gym. If we have a situation where a girl will quit in the middle of the season, my athletes don't panic. They know how to problem solve. They know how to rework the routine without stress. They don't see it as a negative. I really use that as a life lesson because life is not going your way. You have to be able to change and be able to move in a positive light. So that is one thing that I think my gym does so well. We actually were at the All Star Prep Worlds 2 years ago, and we had an athlete not show up on day two. So are in the middle of Universal Studios trying to redo our routine. She was on two teams. We redone the first one within an hour. The girls competed. They were amazing. Like we made the changes that we made, killed it for not being able to practice besides the warm up time. We had a break before our level two team. We went to hotels. We may have got kicked out of three hotels practicing, but we kept moving, kept going. We got the routine done. We went back, we competed. They did amazing. And it was the best to see their attitudes, the energy they had. And I really stick strong with I'm here to do life lessons. Cheerleading has taught me a lot in life. It's made me the person I am. So that is my goal to these athletes. It's we're not just doing cheer. We are building your character. We are doing so much.
That's amazing. And so true and so impressive when you see kids like face adversity and, you know, attack it. And that's just such an awesome thing to see. Well, I truly appreciate your time. It's been absolutely fantastic getting to know you and learn more about your gym. And I think that there are probably some coaches out there who are wondering, how could I do this in my small little town? And I think your story is really inspirational. Just you find a way and you find a location and you just start and you just keep innovating and growing and learning and iterating on that, and you'll get somewhere. So it's been awesome chatting with you. I hope everyone enjoyed listening. And with that, we will catch you on the next episode.